llamas, we've had quite a few babies born just in the past week. We have 2 babies that are less than a week old, so I will point them out as I see them. So if you look under the trees there are 2 babies there. Now one of them is hiding behind its mother. That baby's was born on Sunday, so he's not even a week old. Now the one that's a little closer to us is about 2 weeks old. Now llamas were first domesticated by an ancient Incan civilization a few thousand years ago, and herds of llamas generally consist of a few females and 1 male. However, there have been leaderless herds of males of up to 200 strong. It's also very surprising to know that llamas are actually very good swimmers. They'll often flee to waterways when they feel threatened. As we move forward here, if you take a look out to your left-hand side, you'll be able to see some large white birds. And those are the European white storks. Now the European white storks are found throughout Europe during the summer months, and they like to build their nests on the roofs of houses, in chimneys, and on tall trees. Now their nests have actually been known to weigh up to 100 pounds before being blown down in storms, and that's because they return to the same nesting site every year. Now the European white stork has a place in folklore as the bringer of good luck, as well as the deliverer of babies. Inside, you'll see the Watusi cattle. Now the first thing you'll notice about the Watusi are their very large and impressive horns. Now they actually have the largest and most dramatic horns of any breed of cattle. Now their horns actually act as a cooling system similar to that of a radiator on a car, as blood will travel through their horns and cool down before returning back into the body. Wow. Now they were commonly used as a symbol of wealth and used for trade and barter, so they weren't often seen as a source of meat. Their hardy and disease-resistant nature has allowed them to be established into several different continents. Originating from Eastern Africa, they can now be found throughout Africa, in Europe, and all throughout North America as well. Now, yep, you'll see the baby on the left-hand side. Now, that's the one that was just born on Sunday. He's actually on Monday. Now, if you take a look out to your right-hand side, you'll see some cranes. Now, the East African crowned cranes get their name from the straw-like bristles on their heads, which give them the appearance of wearing crowns. Now, they are native to the open savannas of the open plains of the savannas in Africa, and they are known for their bobbing dance, which they do both for courtship and for enjoyment. Now, just behind those birds, you'll be able to see another baby llama and its mother. Now, that's actually our oldest baby llama. He was born a few months ago. And our youngest baby llama, a full-grown llama, will actually stand at 3.5 feet tall and weigh up to 385 pounds. Now directly ahead of us and coming up on your left-hand side, enclosed in green fencing, is our cheetah breeding compound. There's been very limited success in the captive breeding of this rare species. However, African Lion Safari is proud to say that we've had over 40 cheetahs born here since 2001. Now if you look really closely underneath the bushy tree there, you'll be able to spot one. Now the cheetahs are commonly characterized by their sandy brown coats with black spots. In fact, that is the reason why they've been hunted for many years. Now today there are an estimated 9,000 to 12,000 cheetahs left in the wild, so they are truly a rare and endangered species. The least commanding of the African cats, the cheetah is an unassuming, amiable, and easily trained animal. They are fine-boned and lightweight with semi-retractable claws and a small head, and this helps them to move at speeds of up to 90 kilometers per hour. In fact, the fastest cheetah has actually been clocked in at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. So if that cheetah was running on the highway, he could get caught with a speeding ticket. African lions. Now, the pride that you'll be viewing today consists of related cats that were born here at the park, as well as unrelated cats from other zoological institutions. Now, it's important for us to keep up trade between zoological institutions in order to maintain the proper amount of genetic diversity within the pride. The lions are very gregarious animals in that they live in social units. They're actually the only members of the large cats to live in family units consisting of males, females, and lions are commonly referred to as the supreme hunters of the savannah. However, and they generally hunt in groups. However, the actual killing of an animal is done by the lioness. Now, although lions are commonly associated with Africa, they actually originated much further north and were in Europe during the last ice age. So in the winter, they do grow a thicker coat and they are much less active. Bari is very easily recognized by his very large and impressive mane. Now, the lion's mane grows only on the male lion and begins to grow at about 15 months of age. It is fully grown in after about 5 years. Now, Jabari is well over 5 years old, and so his mane is completely grown in. A full-grown male lion will actually stand at 3.5 feet tall at the shoulders and weigh up to 550 pounds. Now, the lioness is generally much smaller, but I do say generally because we do have a very large lioness lying on the top rock there. Now, a very interesting fact about the lion's roar is that it can be heard from 8 kilometers away. So in the morning before Jabari's had his food and he lets out his roar, it can actually be heard throughout the park. That they are always lying around. Now, all of our meat-eating animals that you see here today are called carnivores, and they're fed 2 to 6 pounds of meat each day that is supplemented with the proper nutrients in order to ensure good health. Just where she wants to be, wants her space, I guess. Now, in our next reserve, we couple of cubs, and you'll see just how small they are. They're actually our youngest cubs by radio communication in order to relay messages throughout the park. Now, we've just entered into our third reserve, the Timbavati Lion Country. Now, accounts of white lions have been around for centuries, according to African folklore. Much smaller than the dominant male that you saw in the last reserve, and that's because he is much younger. He is only about 4 years old, and so his mane is not completely grown in yet. Now, we like to joke that a free and now the lion's mane, as well as the tail tufts, are generally much paler than the rest of their bodies. And when baby white lion cubs are first born, they're said to look like polar bear cubs because the color of their fur is so white. Now, they'll gradually gain pigmentation as they grow older. Now, as we travel through the park today, you'll see our game wardens driving around in their zebra striped trucks. Their job is just to make sure that all of our animals behave themselves, but also make sure that visitors to the park behave themselves as well. On the window? Believe it or not, some people think it's a good idea to get out of their car in the middle of the lion section. The park known as No Man's Land, and you won't find any exotic animals in this section of the park, as it acts as a natural buffer between our meat-eating carnivores and our plant-eating herbivores. So it's basically a giant barrier between our lions and the rest of the animals that we have here at the park. In this reserve, you'll be introduced to our troop of savanna baboons. So as we pass through these gates here, you'll see a path that goes off to the left-hand side, and that is our Monkey Jungle Bypass Road. It's designed for people who do not wish to go through our baboon section, as our baboons have been known to do some small mechanical work on cars, take souvenirs, and leave some of their own. Now they're very big fans of windshield wipers as well as the rubber stripping. Unfortunately, I've seen it happen many times where they'll take out the rubber stripping around the doors. They also like to pee and poo on top of the cars. Once I had a poop on top of a minivan, and it was also on the window a little bit. And in the next reserve, I'm not sure if the van knew that it got pooped on, or like if they knew it was on the window, or if they were trying to get it off. But they ended up rolling down their windows and ended up smearing poop all over the place. Originated from India, and they are one of the oldest and smallest breeds of cattle in the world. They're actually the only miniature breed of cattle, meaning that they were not bred down by a larger sized cow. Now they're very calm and intelligent animals. They actually get along quite well with our baboons. Sometimes you'll even see a baby baboon trying to take a ride on the zebu. No, it doesn't last very long. Ooh, I'm just going to move up, guys. If you take a look out to your left-hand side, just approaching the tree, you'll be able to see a mother baboon with her baby she's hiding them now. But when baby baboons are first born, they're completely black, but they have red faces. And they'll cling to their mother's underside like that for the first 3 months of life as it presents the best position to nurse. So maybe if she starts moving again, you'll be able to see it. You can kind of see his face there. Now, baboons have a very interesting social structure which begins at birth. Each member will have their own position in the troop, and females will inherit rank from their mothers, whereas male rank is open to the challenge. Now, there is a definite order of dominance within the troop, and if a lower ranking baboon attempts to take food before a higher ranking member, the member will be punished by tail biting accompanied by screeching. Now, baboons are primarily land animals, so they will spend most of their time on all fours. And the common diet for the baboon is fruits and roots, but they have been known to eat some small prey such as birds and mice.
Look at them over there. I know. Oh, there's one on the road. Wait, you're in front of the bus?
There's one in front of the bus.
There is. Over on your left. Oh, yeah.
So baboons are native to South Asia and Africa. They have large cheek pouches, which they use to store large amounts of food. Now you'll often see baboons grooming each other, and what they'll do is they'll go through the fur of another baboon and pick out the bugs in order to eat them. Full-grown baboon will actually weigh up to 88 pounds and live for up to 20 years.
It's on the bus.
Yeah, I said it's...
Oh, yeah, that one got on the bus.
If you take a look on top of the wooden structure there, he's sitting on the bridge between the two. That's actually our dominant male, and his name is
There's
Meatloaf.
two of them. There's two of them.
On the
Two
bus?
of them on the bus.
Now, baboons will often retreat to the trees at night in order to escape their deadliest enemy, the leopard. But fortunately, here at African Lion Safari, they don't have to worry about the leopard as they sleep in a nice heated barn at night. But they also like to retreat to the trees on hot days like today in order to stay cool. Now, we often inform our guests not to open their windows to the baboons. As playful and friendly as they may seem, they actually have very large and sharp teeth, and feeding the baboons is best left to the professionals. Now, despite our best efforts, some people still think it's a good idea to open their windows and let let the baboons in. We once had a baboon halfway inside the car before any of our staff realized it. At this point, we had to kind of fish him out. There was no harm done, but we just encourage people not to do it, just in case.